is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
For today's Grimm adventure, we find ourselves in a place known as Freiburg, Germany. Today we're going to be visiting the filming locations to one of my favorite horror movies that came out in the 70s, a movie called Suspiria.
Roses are red, violets are blue, but the iris is the flower that will mean the end of it.
You can run from Suspiria. Suspiria. You can hide from Suspiria. Suspiria. But you cannot escape. Suspiria. The only thing more terrifying than the last 12 minutes of Suspiria are the first 92.
Now, technically, Suspiria is a supernatural horror movie that came out in 1977, directed by Dario Argento. And it follows an American dancer who comes to Germany to this prestigious dance school. I'm gonna give it away. It's basically run by witches. Now the dance school is here in Freiburg at the base of the Black Forest. Now this is our first time in Germany, and how fitting that we're doing the filming locations to a movie called Suspiria. If you've seen it, you know how big this is. If not, do yourself a favor and watch it. Now, to elaborate a little bit more on the storyline, the main character, her name is Susie Banyan, and she's played by an actress named Jessica Harper. Not you, Jessica. Now, you may know Jessica Harper from a movie that came out in 1974 called The Phantom of the Paradise, directed by Brian De Palma, or as Janet in the sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a movie called Shock Treatment.
We've got the luck so far. We are my lucky stars, 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 stars.
Now you probably can't hear this because it's so faint, but there's this dreamlike music playing right now. It's coming in on the wind through the buildings, and it's quite fitting because the music to Suspiria was done by a band known as Goblin. And the music to this movie is so creepy and so fitting that it's kind of giving me chills just standing here looking at the Dance Academy and just thinking about the music. You guys want to see it? Now, as we turn this corner, you're going to see this beautiful reddish building. This was the prestigious Dance Academy. Now, the fun thing about this, we were wondering why they chose this building all the way out here when most of the movie was filmed down in Munich. Of course, we're gonna be visiting some of the other filming locations, but coming here from France, it just seemed a little out of place. Well, it turns out they actually didn't film here. It's just a historic building that they fell in love with, and they recreated it as a set, like to the colors, to the windows, to the plaque, everything. When you watch the movie, you can clearly see that it's a set because the cab pulls into what looks like a cul-de-sac, but as you can see in real life, it's a street that goes straight through. Now, Susie's cab drops her off right here in front of this door at an angle kind of like this. And as she gets out, it's pouring down rain. And as she's getting her luggage out, she sees a woman run out of the building. She's fighting with somebody. She storms off into the night. Susie, she tries to check in because she just arrived from New York, and surprisingly, they turn her away, so she has to sleep in town.
Hello? Who is it? Susie Banyan. I just got in from New York. I don't know you. Go away. But I have the letter you sent. Look, it's really raining hard. You could just let me in and I'll explain. Go away. Go away.
Again, this was just a reconstructed set, so there are certain things that are slightly different, but the main doorway here, as well as a few other things, match up perfectly. This is really neat. It looks like what they changed the most is the windows, but they left things like the plaques the same, probably because it's a historical building, but the plaques are the same, the writing's the same, the words are the same. You can see it clear as day in the movie. Now this is fun. Right here on the wall they have a scanny code. What do they call them? The QR codes that kind of tell you a little bit about what is here. So what happens when you scan the code?
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia?
Yeah.
So it talks about the house, the history of it. Does it mention Suspiria at all?
Yeah.
You have no idea how much I love this movie. Even the remake was pretty good. And as much as we would love to just stand out here and just look at it, or maybe even go inside because it is technically part of a bank now, we still have so much more to see. We're not going to get to all of the filming locations, but we're going to try to hit as many as we can as we move through Germany. From here, we head to Munich. Now this music is just too surreal. We have to find the source of it, so we're going to walk down the street a little bit. It sounds like a xylophone, right? So it looks like we have a street performer down here. Every time we see a street performer, we try to get them in the video. So we have some money, we're going to drop it and see if it'll let us record them. See, this is nice. This is really nice. This place is beyond beautiful. Beyond beautiful. Just look at this place. So we're here for the filming locations to Suspiria, but just walking through, half the fun is exploring. Oh my word. I think we found our home. Talk about beautiful architecture. This is insane. I promise, I don't want to make you dizzy, but I'm walking to the center so you guys can see this. I'm going to slow turn it all the way around, kind of like what we just did. I've never seen anything like this in the States, ever. It just keeps going and going and going. Back to where we started. And look at all the finer details. Holy heckins. This really is unbelievable. And then, I can reach out and touch this right now if I wanted to. Oh, baby gold, this is beyond beautiful. I have a feeling we're gonna run into more places like this at our stay here in Germany, but for now, we have to get back on track. We have more locations from Suspiria to visit. I really love the architecture of the buildings here and the colors, especially red ones like this one over here. It's more like a reddish pink. Now, I point this out because in the movie Suspiria, the color red is very, very prominent. Now, in the movie, one of the students, she's expelled from the dance academy, her name's Pat, and she comes downtown and she stays with a friend. And her friend's apartment was this one right over here. In fact, we see the building from right about here. If I stop, you can see the front door, you can see those windows right there, and then that lamppost all look the same from the movie. And oh yeah, I should point out that this is where she gets brutally murdered in the movie. So it's a pretty fun scene. Again, everything that they shot in this scene was actually on a set. They only used the exterior of this building as like an establishing shot, but it's still pretty cool to be standing right here, walking the streets, walking the movie Suspiria, 1877.
Enough! Enough! Do you know what happened? Do you know?
What is it?
Your lousy, disgusting dog has bitten Albert. He took a piece out of Albert's arm.
What?
Did you all hear that? That miserable dog tried to mutilate a child. If I ever see him within a mile of this school again, I'll have him put to death! Stop it!
So in the movie Suspiria, Daniel, he's a blind pianist who has a dog. He's living at the school, and the dog bites someone, and then he gets dismissed from the school. And he comes down to this beer garden, right? Beer garden, Hofbrauhaus, to kind of drown his sorrows. And that is this building right back here. It's one of the oldest beer gardens in Germany, and you can actually go inside it. It's still in operation. You can match up some things. This building right here in the center of your screen is what we came here for. The arches look the same, the stained glass looks the same, and it's been here for so long that it actually has ties, not only to Suspiria, but supposedly to Mozart, as well as a darker side of Germany, to Adolf Hitler. I wonder if they're gonna let us inside. Looks like they filmed everything from right about this angle right here. The guys drinking and dancing would have been over by those windows. Daniel and his dog would have been sitting right here by this column. You can see everything. Everything matches up. So the columns still match up. You can see them clear as day as Daniel is walking right outside the door here, right past these columns. He's got his dog with him. And it's a slow pan as he's walking past all this. You can see this stone wall right here. And then this red door back in 1977 when they made the movie, there was stained glass there. The next stop on our Suspiria filming locations tour brings us to this square right here known as Königsplatz. I think I'm saying that correctly. It translates to King's Place. Now in the movie, Daniel and his seeing eye dog are walking through this place. It's empty. There's not a car or a pedestrian in sight. And this is where, well, Daniel gets attacked by his dog. Now, of course, we're here because of the movie Suspiria that came out in 1977, but this square in particular also has some ties to some dark times in history. You see, during the Third Reich, this square was the place where the Nazi Party had their mass rallies. Now, today, when you come here and visit, there's museums. I think it's called Museum Row or Museum Quarter, museums down this way and that way. You can just kind of come and get some pictures, or talk about Suspiria. The shot we get from the movie is taken from right about here. The camera's a little elevated, so you get this downward shot. But you see both buildings in the background. It's a nighttime establishing shot. Like I said, there's no cars, there's no people. It's the middle of the night, and Daniel and his dog are walking. Walking through the square, Daniel and his dog stop at this building in the background, and his dog starts barking. Now you can see all this grass that's here right now, but back whenever they made the movie, when it came out in 1977, it was all just concrete here. So a lot has changed, but this is it. You can clearly see the side of the building right there on the left, as well as the columns. Looks like they really used the square for a lot of different shots. There's a shot where Daniel is walking towards this building that's behind Jessica from right about here. And what's fun about this is they had the camera, they did a couple different shots of Daniel walking. And there's one of them, like this creepy little somebody's watching him walk shot from this building right over here. We're gonna show you guys in just a moment. Now for this shot, I call it the creeper shot. We gotta walk up the steps just behind these pillars. Watching the movie closely, it looks like that the cameraman is behind both sets of pillars, pointing the camera towards the square. And right about the center, you're gonna see it here in just a moment. Right about the center of everything out there is where Daniel was standing with his dog. Now you can't see it because our camera doesn't do too well. But high above that building, straight across the center there's this giant eagle. And they do a close-up in the movie. So I'm gonna show you the close-up of the eagle in the movie. And it shows a couple different close-ups of that, and then you hear the sounds of something flying. You don't see it, it's like an unseen force, right? Again, supernatural. And then they show these shadows of things flying across the buildings. And then Daniel's dog attacks him, and he rips his throat out, and he dies. Daniel dies right out here in the center of the plaza. The next stop on our Suspiria tour brings us to the BMW Museum here in Munich, which is these crazy buildings right over here. Once we get up there, and you're gonna see how it matches up when we line up the shots. But this is where Susie's character comes and talks to Frank Mandel, Dr. Frank Mandel, who's played by Udo Kier. Now this is as close as we're going to get to the establishing shot of this scene here at the BMW Museum. It's a pretty striking image, so keep this in your head. So we get it from here, and then the camera pans down very slowly as the conversation is happening. And Susie Banyan and Udo Kier's character, I feel like I'm saying his name wrong. Maybe I am, but you know what I'm talking about. They would have been sitting right over here. You can see that sign where it says M1 Pro Car. So some things have changed. It looks like they moved the planters around. But you can see the texture right above the windows. This is all still the same.
I'm convinced that the current spread of belief in magic and the occult is part of mental illness. Bad luck isn't brought by broken mirrors, but by broken minds.
Now you can tell that it was a very windy day because Susie's hair is blowing as they're having a conversation. And then the camera turns to right about here. Again, over in this area, it's not exact, but it's right over in this area where they continue having the conversation with the different camera angles. There's a couple of different things happen here.
Excuse me, Milius, if you don't mind, I'd like you to meet a friend of mine.
Fräulein?
She's interested in your favorite subject, witches.
Now there's one more location we're going to try to get into. It's a swimming pool scene. It's a beautiful indoor pool. I have no idea if we get access to it, but we're going to drive to there now and just play it by ear. So you're either going to get to see a swimming pool from Suspiria, or you're going to get the ending of the video. Either way, hopefully you're enjoying this. We are. Fingers and bones crossed. That's what we say here at the Grimm Life Collective. Well, this is a bummer. So this building right here, you can see that there's some construction going on. This is the building that houses this beautiful Art Nouveau pool. It was built in 1901. And we can't get inside. I went inside and I asked them and I was like, hey, all I want to do is take a picture. I just want to see it. And the lady kept telling me no. Honestly, I'm kind of bummed because I really wanted to at least see the pool. I mean, you can go online and see pictures how it looks today as well as see it in the movie, but I wanted to see it with my own two eyes. So I'm kind of bummed that they won't let us in. It could be because of the construction, or two, maybe it's off season, or three, because I'm not wearing swimming trunks. So why would they let me in? For whatever reason, can't do it. This is the building, but here is the scene. Susie and her friend are swimming in this beautiful, outrageous looking swimming pool, talking about Pat's murder. Man, I wish we could get inside.
You really messed things up.
What are you talking about?
Because maybe Pat was talking to someone just inside the building that night. And we know that someone wasn't one of the teachers. Come on. Now you put them on the hunt for somebody.
What difference does that make to you?
Big difference.
With that being said though, we got to visit a lot of the locations from the 1977 Dario Argento movie, Suspiria. Like I said, most of it was filmed on sets that were built, but these are the actual locations. With that being said, thank you for joining us on this Grimm adventure to Freiburg, as well as Munich, Germany. Till next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.